Welcome everyone, this is Classitope and today we're going to be ranking the best piano practice methods, starting from non-negotiable, going all the way down to methods to avoid. Next up, we got writing fingerings and annotations. So, writing annotations can be very beneficial, because when fingerings are pre-decided, it shouldn't take you any time to think of what fingers to play when you're repeating a passage. Building that consistency speeds up memorization and the overall time it takes to learn a piece. But it can really take some time to write down all the fingerings, so make sure not to overdo it. But especially when you're playing a piece at the edge of your ability, I would say this is definitely worth to do. Putting annotations into the high impact tier. Next up we've got playing without pedal first. The overuse of the sustain pedal can really make sloppy techniques sound okay, and it makes your overall playing sound muddy. The issue with muddy playing is that if you can't even hear what you're playing, how are you able to tackle any of the problems? By practicing without pedal first, your playing will sound more clean and precise. It's often easy to forget your foot's on the pedal, so just consistently remind yourself to take it off. In more mellow pieces like a Chopin nocturne, obviously you would still need pedal, but even there I would recommend you to practice without pedal first. In general, for most pieces, I'd recommend you to practice 90% of the piece without pedal. So because of this, I would definitely put playing without pedal first in the non-negotiable category. Next up, we've got exaggerated relaxation. This is where you're going to be actively scanning for tension in your muscles and trying to reduce it. Simplifying technique, it basically all comes down to tension. So this is a great skill to have. Obviously, you're going to need more things, but overall, I'm putting this in high impact tier. Next up, we've got randomly starting somewhere throughout the piece. The idea behind this is that it improves your comprehension of the structure of the piece, and it also helps a little bit with memorization. However, to me, this sounds a little bit more gimmicky or something to try when you're bored. It doesn't really improve your technique and doesn't have that many benefits. For that reason, I'm putting it into the low impact tier. Rarely useful, more something for beginners. And if you're a beginner and you don't know where to start, consider checking out my free PDF. It's the first link in the description. Next up, we've got a classic, the metronome. The metronome is a really powerful tool for pianists who can't stay in time, but it must be used intelligently. Just get a free app. I use Soundbrenner, put the timer to 1-1, and put the BPM to the lowest part of the piece you can handle. The argument against metronomes is that it will make your playing boring. But before you're gonna be able to do anything interesting with playing, you need to build that bass first. You need to build an internal pulse. So without any arguments, metronome is going into S tier. Next up, we've got visualizations and mental practice. This could be insanely effective, but only once you're already quite advanced. Because at a certain point, you've got to be able to vividly imagine the movements behind the technique and not just hear the notes. Just hearing the notes could be good for training your hearing and the mental aspect, but also kinesthetically practicing while away from the keyboard is even more powerful. There's even research behind this. One study, researchers had two groups practice basketball three-pointers. They had the first group practice normally, but the second group, they had them sit down in a chair and just mentally imagine them hitting the three-pointers. And what's so interesting is that both of their end results of both groups ended up being very similar. But the issue with this is that mental practice takes a lot of mental strength, so it's definitely not for everybody. There's even stories of great pianists who are able to learn a piece on the train or on the plane on the way to a concert. So mental practice is more of a situational thing, especially helpful once you're more advanced. So for that reason, I'm putting it into the context dependent tier. Next up, we've got slow practice. And this is one of those things that took me way too long to implement. But once I finally did, I saw one of the biggest improvements in my playing ability. There's even this story of a reporter sneaking to the back of Rachmaninoff's house to hear him play. Rachmaninoff, took 20 seconds per bar. So, in conclusion, if you're doing this well and paying attention to all of the details, this will make you a better pianist really, really quickly. Definitely non-negotiable tier. Next up, we've got interleaved practice. Another one for the advanced pianists. What's great about this is that you can't fake it. You have to hear the music in between of the silent spots. The issue with this exercise is that it's really a refining exercise, and you already need a lot of skill to be able to do this. You need to be able to play the entire piece and already have a good understanding of the piece. So for me, it's going into context dependent. Next up is ear training. This is things like being able to recognize chords or intervals. The thing, however, with isolated interval training is that it won't make your performance any better. Developing your ear is crucial, for sure. But spending too much time trying to recognize all of these different intervals isn't gonna help you play better pieces. In my opinion, avoid. Next is hand separate practice. This is a very common practice method and one of the first ones all pianists learn. It's a really good habit to start practicing a piece with hands separate. And I would even give you a tip to do your left hand first. This is something every pianist goes to, and really it's important to take as much time as possible before bringing your hands together. Overall, definitely going to the non-negotiable tier. Now, technical exercises, S tier. These made one of the biggest differences for my technique personally, only a few months after implementing them. And I don't understand why they're still controversial. I recommend anybody to play these exercises. It improves literally everything there is to your piano technique. The only argument I've heard against it that would be relevant is that you could get injured or it wouldn't do anything if they're practiced wrong. So just make sure to practice them right and you will get a lot out of them. Definitely S tier. For starters, at the early intermediate level, I would recommend you to start with Hanon. Next up, we've got scales, very similar to the last. Scales are really important and it's one of the first technical drills you'll learn. Scales are literally seen everywhere in common repertoire. It first starts by learning the thumb thug, and then as you go on, you also should really pay attention to keeping your wrists stable. There's a few examples of really great pianists who swear against scales and say they're not necessary. But for the average person, implementing this in your routine is going to help massively. Definitely high impact tier. Next up, we've got arpeggios. It's a very similar story to scales. They're seen almost everywhere in the advanced repertoire. So they've got to be practiced one way or another. The thing you're training with arpeggios at first is weight redistribution, which is already a more advanced technical concept. It also helps you to just play relaxed and lighter. Definitely high impact tier. Next up, eyes closed practice. This is something that's supposed to help you with internally mapping the keyboard. And sure, this could help if you're really struggling with jumps, but to me, this sounds more of like a gimmicky practice method, which I wouldn't recommend. I would put this into the low impact tier. In general, besides showing off, not that useful. Next up, we've got full start to finish run-throughs without stopping. While they can be satisfying, they're really not an effective way to practice. Targeted practice is a much more effective way to improve faster. The only time I would really do this is once I've already finished the piece and I'm rehearsing it as a performance, focusing on the flow and the overall pacing of the piece. Overall, low impact. Here's chunking. Playing small sections instead of focusing on playing the whole piece at one time can be great because focusing on those tricky parts really helps you to isolate them and improve what you're lacking. You can combine sections gradually. Start with one bar, then add two together until you've got a whole phrase. This is quite a common one, going into non-negotiable. Next up, transposing a piece. This is where you're taking a piece and transforming it to a different key. It would be helpful for understanding the harmonic structure. Maybe you would understand some fingerings better or the intervals. But in general, this will be overkill and a very inefficient waste of your time. Avoid. It still has some musical value, but this could only be really worth it if you're interested in composing, in my opinion. Next up, we've got the habit of daily side reading. This is the habit where you're going to continuously go through tons and tons of pages, playing them without stopping to improve your reading skill. If your music reading skill is weak, this could be something to consider. But for most, you should already be playing a lot of music, so this could just be overkill. It's very situational, however. If you're studying to accompany another instrument or you're going in a direction where you need to read a lot of music, this could still be helpful to do. For that reason, I'm putting it into the context dependent tier. Groupings, or also called speed bursts, are a way to improve your evenness when playing. They're a method by which you can tell where the exact problem lies within a phrase. If you already have a good technical base, sometimes a run could just be sluggish just because of two notes, and this could help you find out where that problem lies exactly and immediately solve it. For that reason, high impact tier. Next up, we've got silent practice. This is where you just silently hover your fingers over the key without actually playing them. To me, this is often just awkward, but I've heard some good things about it that it can help you play more silent. In my opinion, it's still a low impact exercise. Next up, we've got articulation drills, or staccato legato contrast drills. This is basically where you've got a piece where instead of staccato, you're going to be playing legato or opposite. Another thing you could do is just accentuate the staccato or accentuate the legato. The reason for this is that if you have a piece that's very dense musically with middle voices, if you play that voice in staccato when it's not supposed to be, it could help you hear it better and bring it out better in the future. So for these specific types of pieces, it could be very helpful, but I don't really use it that often. So in general, context dependent. Next up, we've got practicing with different dynamics than are written. This works very similar to the last exercise, but this time we're just going to change the dynamics instead of the articulation. Personally, this has helped me less. Because in my opinion, bad dynamics can come from two things. Either you don't have the technique, you can't play hard enough, or you can't play very quietly. Or secondly, you have a bad understanding of the structure of the music. And this method helps neither of those. Exaggerating dynamics just helps you think about them a little bit more, but I find it gimmicky and not too useful. Low impact. For the last method, recording yourself and listening back analytically. This is one of those nice things where if you listen back, you can catch way more mistakes. And one thing I like to do is to compare my recording to that of more advanced pianists, so I can hear for extra things I might not be noticing that are missing. It's not the easiest method, however, because you already need to be able to critically listen to the playing. I say high impact. That wraps up the list. Let me know if you disagree with any of the decisions I made, and thanks so much for watching.